my name is Danielle Harris, and I'm the Public Information Manager for Augusta, Georgia government. And I am so excited that today I get a chance to sit down with Director Daniel Dunlap, who oversees all the operations at Augusta's E-911 Communications Center. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming by.
Good. Well, you all have a lot of great things happening in your department. But before we get into it, kind of briefly explain what you all do here. Kind of take us behind the curtain.
Sure. Well, behind the scenes, we're answering those initial 911 calls when people are, having their worst day. Whether it's handling calls for police, fire, medical, we're taking those calls, we're processing those calls, and we're getting them in touch with the first responders. So we're dispatching those resources that are so vital for public safety.
Okay. And you all just recently received a very prestigious accreditation that speaks to the great work you all are doing in your department. Tell us about it.
Sure. Well, thank you. So we actually just became the 70th in the world for accreditation for the emergency fire dispatch under the International Academies of Emergency Dispatch. It's considered the Accredited Center of Excellence, or ACE. Again, only 70 in the world, and the only one standalone 911 center in the state of Georgia, which means there are other agencies within the state of Georgia that may have medical and fire, police, medical, fire, but we're the only one that just has fire. That's a testament of what our staff has done. So it's not just us in the administrative part putting together an application for us to receive the accreditation. Our staff has to meet certain criteria for answering calls, for asking the questions in order, and giving life-saving pre-arrival instructions prior to the fire department's arrival. So it's a huge deal in our industry.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
To y'all.
Thank you.
Yes, because I'm sure you all feel like how I feel. We need competent people on the other end of that phone when, as you said, we are up against our worst days. So I commend your team.
Well, thank you. And I'll say, just because it's a fire accreditation doesn't mean that we're any lower on the totem pole when it comes to the activities that they do handling police calls or in the process of handling medical calls with our local provider. Everything these professionals do on a daily basis, it's stressful. It could be someone's worst day, but they shine on every call.
Now, in addition to you all getting this accreditation, you all also underwent an update with your software and equipment. So kind of speak to that. So
a few things that we've done. We've had emergency text, the ability to send text to 911. We've had that since 2018. That's something that is out there and able to be utilized by the citizens that may not be able to speak directly to 911, or anyone that has a speech or hearing impairment. They can actually text to 911 and we can communicate with them to get them the resources we need. Several upgrades that we've done as far as our radio system, our computer-aided dispatch system, which is the system we keep the information within our, as far as the units and the calls, keeping track of all that information. We have a system called ASAP to PSAP, which there's quite a few alarm monitors in Augusta, Richmond County. When their alarm goes off, instead of it going to an alarm company and the alarm company having to call us on the phone, we have it set up electronically where that data will come directly into our system.
Oh, wow.
And we can dispatch that call instantly.
That's incredible. Good point. Okay. So if someone wants to work in your department, how long is that training process? What does that look like?
So you got to think about it. It's not quick. We just don't want to put anybody in a seat when it comes to people's lives or property. We actually have staff that are hired come in and do a classroom training. So they sit through at least 4 weeks of classroom training, because there's a lot of equipment, there are a lot of geography, zones, areas, things that we need to get them prepared for, the computer systems and programs that we have. The exposure to that in a controlled environment is important from the outset. After we do bring them out onto the 911 floor, they're then paired with a trainer, directly pigtailed, if you will. They're tied together, so everything that the trainee says to a caller or says over the radio, they have a trainer right there to be able to jump in or provide feedback. Or there's situations where the trainee may not feel comfortable and the trainer has to take over. It's those situations that we want to make sure we're setting folks up for success. We don't want to leave anybody feeling like they're empty-handed or swamped. And we certainly don't want to put someone who's not prepared in direct contact with a citizen in an emergency situation. So to go back to your original question, it could take 6 months. It could take 6 to 8 to 12 months to actually get fully trained on all the positions we have within the 911 center for a dispatcher. Now for a call taker, we've had folks that have gone through, received certifications, and they have been completely signed off and no longer with a trainer in a 4-month period. Addition to just the normal training that we put them through, there is a requirement that they go through the post standards for the state of Georgia for basic communications officer. And we sent everybody through all that training.
Well, as we wrap up this interview, I couldn't close out without saying that you yourself, Daniel, you have worked in every rank, not necessarily here in Augusta, but in other locations. But you know what it looks like on every level of serving in this type of department. Kind of touch on that briefly.
Sure, Danielle. So yes, I became a dispatcher at the age of 20, and I was just a single dispatcher working with one shift supervisor in a small agency in Florida. I worked my way up through some of those positions I mentioned, with a training coordinator, quality assurance, up to a communications chief. And then I was lucky in 2016 to come up here to Augusta to become the director. So it's important from my perspective to know what they're going through on the floor. You know, it's the stress, it's the hours, it's the nights, the weekends, the holidays that a lot of folks have the benefit of being off or being at home, that will keep me up at night wondering, you know, making sure that they have the tools that they need, making sure that they're doing well. And it's not just from the standpoint of handling the calls, but it's also from, you know, just their mental health, because that's something that we really have to consider in 2023 and beyond.
Very true. Well, Director Dunlap, thank you so much for your time.
Hopefully the check's in the mail. Thanks, Danielle. We appreciate you coming by and visiting the 911 Center.
And I applaud you and I applaud your staff. And I want to thank you, all of our residents who continue to support our first responders and all of the great work you all are doing in E-911. So as always, continue to help us move this great city forward. And if you want to work with E-911, just head over to augustag.gov to start your journey. Until next time, take care.
Thank you.